There comes a moment in life when you realize that holding on to certain people is costing you more than letting them go. You try harder, give more, forgive repeatedly, and hope that one day things will change. But instead of finding peace, you become emotionally exhausted. Little by little, you lose yourself while trying to keep everyone else in your life. The person who suffers the most is not the one who walked away. It is the one who forgot their own worth. Many people are afraid of being alone. They believe that being alone means being lonely, abandoned, or unloved. Because of this fear, they stay attached to unhealthy relationships, tolerate disrespect, and continue chasing people who have already chosen a different path. But Buddhist wisdom teaches something completely different. Solitude is not punishment. Solitude is a sacred opportunity to heal, grow, and rebuild the person you were always meant to become. This journey is not about rejecting people or closing your heart. It is about letting go of unhealthy attachment so you can finally rediscover your own strength. Today we will explore 12 timeless Buddhist lessons that will help you detach from what no longer serves you, rebuild yourself with confidence, and discover the peace that only comes when you stop depending on others to complete your life. Accept that not everyone is meant to stay in your life. Many people spend years trying to keep every relationship alive, believing that if they love enough, sacrifice enough, or remain patient enough, everyone they care about will stay forever. Yet I tell you, this belief creates unnecessary suffering because it goes against the nature of life itself. Everything in existence changes. Seasons change, rivers change, trees change, and human hearts also change. Some people enter your life to teach you, some to walk beside you for a season, and some to help you become stronger before continuing on their own path. Their departure does not always mean failure. Sometimes it is simply the natural unfolding of life. Peace begins when you stop measuring every ending as a personal loss and start seeing each relationship as part of a much greater journey of growth and understanding. The Buddha taught that attachment creates suffering because the mind demands permanence from an impermanent world. When someone enters your life, the mind quietly whispers, "May they never leave." Yet nothing in existence remains exactly as it is, forever. Children grow, friends move away, loved ones change, and circumstances transform without asking for permission. When you insist that every relationship remain unchanged, you begin fighting against reality itself. This struggle creates pain because life continues moving while the mind refuses to move with it. Acceptance does not erase sadness, but it prevents sadness from becoming lifelong suffering. It allows the heart to grieve while still remaining open to peace. Imagine standing beside a flowing river and trying to hold the water in your hands forever. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. Relationships often work in the same way. The more desperately you cling to people, the more fear enters your heart. You begin worrying about losing them instead of appreciating the time you have together. The present moment becomes overshadowed by anxiety about the future. The Buddha encouraged appreciation rather than possession. Appreciate those who walk beside you today without demanding that they remain forever. In this way, love becomes lighter, gratitude becomes deeper, and fear gradually loses its grip upon the mind. Many people blame themselves whenever someone leaves their life. They spend years wondering what they could have done differently, replaying conversations, searching for mistakes, and carrying unnecessary guilt. Yet every person follows their own path according to their own understanding, experiences, and choices. Not every ending happens because you failed. Sometimes people leave because their chapter in your life has simply reached its conclusion. A tree does not blame itself when autumn arrives and its leaves fall. It understands that change is part of nature. Learn from your experiences, but do not imprison yourself with endless self-blame for every relationship that changes. The Buddha often reminded people that clinging to what has already passed prevents them from seeing what is arriving. When your attention remains fixed on those who left, you become blind to the opportunities, friendships, and wisdom waiting before you. The heart cannot fully receive new experiences while it is tightly holding old attachments. Letting go is not closing your heart. It is creating space within your heart. Space allows healing to enter. Space allows gratitude to grow. Space allows you to meet life as it is, instead of constantly wishing it were different. Many people fear being left because they secretly believe their happiness depends upon certain individuals remaining beside them. This fear creates emotional dependence. Every disagreement feels threatening, and every period of distance creates anxiety. Yet the Buddha taught that true security cannot be built upon changing circumstances. If your peace depends entirely upon another person's presence, it will always feel fragile. Lasting peace grows when your happiness is rooted within yourself. Then relationships become gifts rather than emotional necessities, and love becomes an expression of freedom instead of fear. As people grow older, they often realize that many individuals they once believed they could never live without eventually became distant memories. At the time, those endings felt unbearable. Yet life continued. New experiences appeared, wisdom deepened, and inner strength quietly developed. Looking back, they recognized that every ending taught something valuable. Some relationships revealed compassion, others taught patience, and some taught the importance of self-respect. What once seemed like loss often became one of life's greatest teachers. This understanding transforms regret into gratitude. The Buddha encouraged mindfulness because mindfulness allows you to experience each relationship without clinging to it. You become fully present with those around you instead of constantly fearing future loss. You speak kindly, love sincerely, and appreciate deeply because you understand that every moment is precious. This awareness does not make endings painful beyond measure. Instead, it fills each shared moment with gratitude. When change eventually comes, the heart grieves naturally, but does not become imprisoned by resistance. Acceptance softens sorrow because it understands the impermanent nature of all things. Many people ask, "Why did this person leave my life?" Yet a wiser question is, "What did this relationship teach me?" This shift changes everything. Instead of remaining trapped in disappointment, the mind begins searching for wisdom. Every relationship leaves behind lessons if you are willing to receive them. Some teach trust, others reveal unhealthy attachment, and many remind you of your own strength. Nothing is wasted when it becomes understanding. Every ending can become the beginning of greater awareness if you choose learning instead of bitterness. Therefore I say, accept that not everyone is meant to stay in your life. This truth is not meant to make your heart cold. It is meant to make your heart wise. Love people while they walk beside you. Appreciate their presence without demanding their permanence. Allow those who must leave to continue their journey without carrying resentment or endless regret. Life is constantly changing, and every person who enters your path brings a lesson, whether they stay for a lifetime or only a short season. When you accept this with a peaceful mind, you stop fearing every goodbye and begin living each moment with greater gratitude, freedom, and inner peace. 2. Stop chasing people who have already let go of you. Many people spend years chasing those who have already chosen to walk away. They send one more message, offer one more apology, make one more sacrifice, and continue hoping that if they try hard enough, the relationship will return to what it once was. Yet I tell you, a heart that has already turned in another direction cannot be forced to stay through effort alone. The more desperately you chase someone who no longer wishes to walk beside you, the more you abandon yourself. Every step taken towards someone who keeps moving away is often a step taken away from your own peace. Love cannot be created through pursuit, and respect cannot be earned through endless sacrifice. Wisdom begins when you stop running after those who have already released their hold on your journey and begin returning to yourself instead. The Buddha taught that attachment often disguises itself as hope. The mind says, "If I say the right words, they will return," or "If I change myself enough, they will finally choose me again." These thoughts create endless suffering because they place happiness in the hands of another person. Hope becomes painful when it refuses to accept reality. There is nothing wrong with wishing someone well or leaving the door open with kindness. The suffering begins when your entire life becomes centered around changing another person's decision. Peace enters when you stop fighting reality and begin accepting what life is gently showing you. Imagine trying to catch the wind with your hands. The harder you reach, the more exhausted you become, yet the wind continues moving according to its own nature. People are much the same. Every person carries their own thoughts, desires, and path through life. You may influence someone with kindness, but you cannot force them to remain where they no longer wish to be. Chasing them only creates deeper exhaustion because your energy is being spent on something you cannot completely control. The wise person understands that love offered freely is beautiful, but love demanded through pursuit loses its peace. Many people mistake persistence for devotion. They believe that refusing to let go proves the depth of their love. Yet true love is never built upon desperation. Love respects freedom. If another person repeatedly chooses distance, wisdom asks you to respect that choice instead of exhausting yourself trying to reverse it. Continuing to chase someone who has already let go often creates resentment, disappointment, and loss of self-respect. You begin measuring your worth according to whether they return. This is too heavy a burden for any relationship to carry. The Buddha reminded his followers that clinging creates suffering. The more tightly you hold on to someone who is slipping away, the more painful every moment becomes. Your thoughts become occupied by their absence, your emotions depend upon their responses, and your peace disappears whenever they remain distant. Yet ask yourself carefully, who is creating this ongoing suffering? The other person may have already moved forward, but your attachment keeps reopening the wound each day. Freedom begins not when they change their mind, but when you change your relationship with attachment itself. Observe how much life is missed while chasing someone who has already left emotionally. Beautiful mornings pass unnoticed because your thoughts remain fixed upon them. Opportunities for growth are ignored because your attention stays trapped in the past. New friendships, new experiences, and new wisdom quietly wait before you, yet your eyes remain fixed behind you. The Buddha encouraged living fully in the present because the present is where transformation becomes possible. You cannot build a peaceful future while constantly running toward a past that no longer exists. As people grow older, many realize that some of the greatest changes in their lives happened only after they finally stopped chasing those who no longer valued their presence. What once felt like unbearable loss gradually became unexpected freedom. They discovered new strengths, deeper peace, and a stronger relationship with themselves. Looking back, they often recognized that the person they were chasing was not actually holding them back. Their own unwillingness to let go was the true chain. The moment they released it, their healing quietly began. The Buddha often spoke of returning to yourself. When you stop chasing others, your energy becomes available once again. Instead of asking why someone left, you begin asking how you can grow. Instead of wondering how to regain another person's attention, you begin giving attention to your own healing. This shift changes everything. Your confidence no longer depends upon being chosen. Your happiness no longer depends upon another person's decision. You become rooted within yourself, and this inner stability cannot easily be shaken. Many people fear letting go because they believe it means the relationship never mattered. Yet this is not true. Something can be meaningful and still come to an end. A beautiful season eventually gives way to another. A flower blooms and later returns to the earth. Nothing in nature remains exactly the same forever. Appreciating what once existed does not require clinging to it endlessly. Gratitude honors the past while allowing the future to unfold naturally. This is the wisdom of acceptance. Therefore, I say, stop chasing people who have already let go of you. This is not an act of pride or bitterness. It is an act of compassion toward yourself. Respect the paths that others choose, even when those paths no longer include you. Release the need to convince, pursue, or prove your worth. Your value has never depended upon someone else's willingness to stay. Walk forward with quiet dignity, carrying gratitude instead of desperation and wisdom instead of attachment. For the moment you stop chasing those who are leaving is often the very moment you begin discovering the person you were always meant to become. 3. Learn to be comfortable in your own company. Many people fear being alone because they believe solitude means loneliness, rejection, or failure. The moment silence enters their lives, they begin searching for distractions, conversations, or relationships to escape it. Yet I tell you, being alone and being lonely are not the same. Loneliness comes from feeling disconnected from yourself, while solitude offers the opportunity to discover who you truly are. A person who cannot enjoy their own company will often depend upon others to fill an emptiness that only self-understanding can heal. But a person who becomes comfortable with themselves carries peace wherever they go. They no longer fear quiet moments because they have learned that silence is not an enemy. It is a teacher. The journey of rebuilding yourself begins when you stop running from yourself and begin learning how to sit peacefully in your own presence. The Buddha often sought quiet places, not because he rejected people, but because he understood the value of stillness. In silence, the mind becomes visible. Thoughts that were hidden beneath constant activity begin to appear. At first, this may feel uncomfortable because old fears, regrets, and worries rise to the surface. Many people mistake this discomfort as proof that solitude is harmful, yet it is simply the beginning of healing. You cannot clean a room without first seeing the dust. Likewise, you cannot heal your mind without first becoming aware of what it carries. Solitude gives you the space to see yourself honestly, and honest awareness is the beginning of wisdom. Imagine a traveler who spends years visiting distant lands but never enters their own home. They know every road except the one leading inward. Many people live in exactly this way. They understand other people's opinions, emotions, and expectations, yet they know very little about their own hearts. They constantly seek connection outside themselves while remaining strangers within. The Buddha taught that the greatest journey is not across mountains or oceans, but into the depths of your own mind. When you become comfortable with yourself, you discover a source of peace that does not depend upon anyone else's presence or approval. Many people avoid being alone because they fear what they might think or feel. They fill every quiet moment with noise, entertainment, or endless conversations. Yet constant distraction prevents understanding. If you never allow yourself moments of stillness, you will never truly hear the quiet voice of wisdom within. Solitude is where clarity often appears. Away from the opinions of others, you begin recognizing your own values, your own dreams, and your own truth. The mind becomes less confused because it is no longer constantly shaped by external influences. In this quiet space, your authentic self slowly returns. The Buddha taught that peace cannot be borrowed from another person. This is why learning to enjoy your own company is so important. If happiness depends entirely upon being surrounded by others, then your peace will disappear whenever you are alone. But when you cultivate contentment within yourself, solitude becomes nourishing instead of frightening. You begin appreciating simple moments, a walk in nature, a quiet morning, mindful breathing, or peaceful reflection. These experiences reveal that joy does not always require companionship. Sometimes it grows most beautifully in silence. Observe how much freedom belongs to a person who is comfortable alone. They do not stay in unhealthy relationships simply because they fear loneliness. They do not tolerate disrespect just to avoid empty evenings. They choose relationships from love rather than desperation. This changes everything. Their friendships become healthier because they are based upon appreciation instead of emotional dependence. Their heart remains open, but it is no longer controlled by fear of abandonment. Solitude has taught them that they are already enough. As people grow older, many discover that life naturally becomes quieter. Children build families of their own, friends become occupied with their own journeys, and familiar routines begin changing. Those who never learned to enjoy their own company often experience this season with sadness and loneliness. Others experience it as a time of peace, reflection, and deeper understanding. The difference is not the amount of people around them, it is the relationship they have developed with themselves. A peaceful mind remains good company, even in an empty room. The Buddha encouraged mindfulness because mindfulness transforms solitude into a place of discovery rather than isolation. Instead of judging your thoughts, you learn to observe them gently. Instead of resisting your emotions, you begin understanding them with compassion. Little by little, the inner conflict begins to soften. You realize that you do not need to escape yourself anymore. Your own heart becomes a place where you can rest peacefully. This inner friendship becomes one of the greatest treasures life can offer. Many people spend years searching for someone who will understand them completely. Yet the most important understanding begins within. When you know yourself deeply, you stop depending entirely upon others for direction and validation. You become more confident because your worth is no longer measured by external approval. The opinions of others lose much of their power because you have built a stronger relationship with your own mind. Solitude becomes the foundation upon which confidence and wisdom quietly grow. Therefore, I say, learn to be comfortable in your own company. Do not fear the quiet moments of life, for they often contain your greatest lessons. Sit with yourself patiently, listen to your thoughts without judgment, care for your heart with the same kindness you offer others. When you become your own friend, loneliness begins losing its power. Relationships become beautiful additions to your life rather than emotional necessities. And as you rebuild yourself from within, you discover that the peace you searched for in other people was waiting inside you all along. 4. Let go of the need for constant approval. Many people quietly build their lives around one invisible desire, the need to be approved by everyone. They want to be liked, praised, accepted, and understood wherever they go. Because of this, they hide their true feelings, silence their honest opinions, and sacrifice their own peace to avoid disappointing others. Yet I tell you, this path leads only to exhaustion. No matter how kind, generous, or careful you become, there will always be someone who misunderstands you, criticizes you, or simply does not agree with you. If your happiness depends upon receiving approval from everyone, your peace will forever remain uncertain. The moment you stop asking the world for permission to be yourself, you begin discovering a freedom that cannot be taken away by another person's opinion. The Buddha taught that every person sees the world through the lens of their own experiences, fears, and desires. Because of this, you cannot control how others judge you. One person may admire your silence, while another calls it weakness. One may appreciate your honesty, while another feels offended by it. If you constantly change yourself to satisfy every opinion, you will spend your entire life becoming someone you are not. The wise person understands that approval is temporary and constantly changing, while inner integrity remains a lasting source of peace. Build your life upon truth rather than popularity. Imagine a tree standing firmly on a mountain. The wind blows from different directions each day, yet the tree does not bend itself into a different shape to satisfy every breeze. It remains rooted because its strength comes from deep within the earth, not from the changing winds around it. In the same way, your confidence should grow from your own understanding and values, not from the shifting opinions of other people. Those who depend upon approval become like leaves carried wherever the wind chooses. Those who know themselves remain steady even when criticism appears. Many people fear disappointing others more than they fear abandoning themselves. They say yes when their heart wishes to say no. They continue unhealthy relationships because they worry about what others might think. They ignore their own needs simply to keep everyone comfortable. Yet every time you betray your own truth for temporary approval, you lose a small part of your inner peace. The Buddha encouraged compassion, but compassion does not require self-neglect. Kindness toward others should never require cruelty toward yourself. Observe how quickly approval disappears. Today, people may praise you, and tomorrow they may criticize you for the very same actions. Human opinions change as easily as the weather. If your self-worth rises and falls according to these opinions, your life becomes unstable. The Buddha reminded his followers that seeking permanent security in changing things always creates suffering. Approval belongs to the changing world. Inner peace belongs to the awakened heart. Choose carefully which one you make the foundation of your life. As people grow older, many realize they spent too much of their youth trying to impress others. They dressed for approval, spoke for approval, worked for approval, and even made important life decisions based on what others expected. Looking back, they often regret not listening more closely to their own wisdom. They discover that the people whose approval they chased have long moved on with their own lives, while the consequences of ignoring themselves remained. This realization teaches an important lesson. Your own peace is worth far more than temporary acceptance. The Buddha encouraged mindfulness because mindfulness reveals when your actions are motivated by fear instead of wisdom. Before speaking or making a decision, ask yourself, am I doing this because it is right, or because I am afraid of losing someone's approval? This simple question creates awareness. It helps you separate authentic kindness from people-pleasing. The more honestly you answer it, the stronger your inner confidence becomes. Little by little, you stop living according to applause and begin living according to truth. Therefore I say, let go of the need for constant approval. Not everyone will understand your path, agree with your choices, or appreciate your growth. That is the nature of human life. You cannot build lasting happiness upon opinions that change from one day to the next. Instead, build your confidence upon honesty, compassion, and inner wisdom. Treat people with kindness, but do not surrender your identity simply to be accepted. When you no longer need everyone to approve of you, your heart becomes lighter, your decisions become clearer, and your life begins to reflect who you truly are, rather than who others expect you to be. 5. Turn solitude into a time of healing and growth. Many people see solitude as something to endure rather than something to embrace. The moment they find themselves alone, they immediately search for distractions because silence feels uncomfortable. Yet I tell you, solitude is not an empty space that needs to be filled. It is fertile ground where healing quietly begins. When you step away from constant noise, endless opinions, and unhealthy attachments, your mind finally has room to breathe. Wounds that were hidden beneath busyness begin revealing themselves, not to punish you, but to be healed. Solitude offers you something that the crowded world rarely can: uninterrupted time to understand your own heart. Instead of fearing these quiet moments, welcome them with patience. The person you are becoming often grows strongest when no one else is watching. The Buddha often chose places of stillness because wisdom grows best in a peaceful mind. In solitude, you no longer spend your energy reacting to every conversation, expectation, or conflict around you. Instead, your attention turns inward. You begin noticing habits that have weakened you and strengths that have been quietly waiting to emerge. At first, this process may feel uncomfortable because it asks you to meet yourself honestly. Yet honesty is the beginning of transformation. You cannot heal what you refuse to see. Solitude removes the distractions that once kept you from yourself and gently invites you to begin the work of inner rebuilding. Imagine a field that has been harvested after many seasons. For a time, it appears empty and lifeless. Someone passing by may believe nothing valuable remains there. Yet beneath the surface, the soil is quietly recovering its strength. It is preparing to nourish new life. Solitude is much the same. To the outside world, it may appear as loneliness or emptiness. But within, something beautiful is taking place. Your mind is resting, your heart is recovering, and your spirit is gathering the strength needed for a new beginning. Do not judge this quiet season too quickly. Some of life's greatest transformations happen where few people are looking. Many people rush into new relationships before healing from old ones. They hope another person's affection will erase the pain left behind by someone else. Yet unhealed wounds often follow them into every new connection. The Buddha taught that running from pain does not remove it. Only understanding it can do that. Solitude gives you the opportunity to sit with your experiences instead of escaping them. It allows grief to soften naturally, resentment to lose its power, and wisdom to grow from what once caused suffering. Healing takes patience, and solitude provides the peaceful space where patience can do its quiet work. When you spend time alone with awareness, you begin rediscovering parts of yourself that were forgotten while trying to please others. You remember the dreams you abandoned, the values you ignored, and the peace you sacrificed in order to gain acceptance. Little by little, you stop asking, "Who do others want me to be?" and begin asking, "Who am I when no one is telling me who to become?" This question changes everything. Growth begins not when you imitate the expectations of the world, but when you reconnect with your own authentic nature. Solitude becomes the place where your true identity slowly returns. As people grow older, many realize that the seasons when they were alone were not the emptiest periods of their lives. They were often the most meaningful. Those quiet years taught them resilience, self-respect, patience, and gratitude. Looking back, they recognize that if life had remained constantly busy and filled with people, they might never have discovered their own inner strength. Solitude became the teacher that no classroom could replace. It revealed that peace is not something given by others, but something cultivated within yourself through reflection and understanding. The Buddha encouraged mindfulness because mindfulness transforms solitude into a living practice. Instead of filling every quiet moment with worry or regret, you learn to observe your thoughts gently and return your attention to the present. A peaceful walk, mindful breathing, reading wisdom, or simply sitting in silence all become opportunities for growth. These simple practices gradually strengthen your mind. You become less reactive, less dependent on external approval, and more capable of finding joy in ordinary moments. Solitude no longer feels empty because your inner life has become rich with awareness. Therefore, I say, turn solitude into a time of healing and growth rather than a season of fear. Do not waste these quiet moments wishing they would end. Use them wisely to rebuild your heart, strengthen your mind, and deepen your understanding of yourself. Let solitude become your teacher instead of your enemy. Every hour spent learning to enjoy your own company is an investment in lasting peace. When you finally step back into the world, you will no longer seek people to complete you. You will meet them as a whole person, carrying a calm heart that has been shaped not by loneliness, but by the quiet wisdom that only solitude can provide. 6. Protect your peace more than your relationships. Many people spend their lives protecting relationships while neglecting the condition of their own minds. They tolerate disrespect to avoid conflict, remain silent to keep others comfortable, and continue carrying emotional burdens simply because they fear losing someone. Yet I tell you, a relationship that constantly destroys your peace asks too high a price. Peace is not something to sacrifice carelessly. It is the quiet foundation upon which a meaningful life is built. Relationships can bring joy, support, and companionship, but if maintaining them requires abandoning your inner stability, then you are slowly giving away something far more valuable. The Buddha taught that wisdom begins with understanding what truly deserves protection. Before you protect another person's comfort, protect the calmness of your own heart, for without inner peace, even the strongest relationships become sources of suffering. The Buddha never taught people to reject love or avoid human connection. Instead, he taught balance. Love should help the heart become lighter, not heavier. A healthy relationship encourages kindness, honesty, and mutual respect. But when a relationship becomes filled with constant anxiety, manipulation, or emotional exhaustion, attachment often disguises itself as loyalty. Many people continue suffering because they confuse endurance with compassion. They believe remaining in pain proves the depth of their love. Yet true compassion includes compassion toward yourself. If you continually neglect your own well-being while trying to preserve every relationship, your heart gradually loses the very peace it was created to protect. Imagine carrying a beautiful lamp through a dark forest. That lamp represents your inner peace. Along the journey, many people ask you to carry their burdens as well. At first, you gladly help. But if the burdens become too heavy, you begin stumbling, and eventually the lamp itself is in danger of being extinguished. What good is carrying everyone else's weight if you lose your own light along the way? In the same manner, relationships should never require you to extinguish your peace. Guard your inner light carefully, because it is through that light that you are able to offer genuine kindness, wisdom, and love to others. Many people fear setting healthy boundaries because they worry others will misunderstand them. They believe saying no will make them appear selfish or uncaring. Yet boundaries are not walls built from anger. They are expressions of wisdom. The Buddha taught the middle way, avoiding both selfishness and self-neglect. A boundary simply says, I care for you, but I must also care for the condition of my own mind. Without boundaries, resentment quietly grows because you continue giving beyond what your heart can peacefully sustain. Protecting your peace allows your kindness to remain sincere instead of becoming exhausted and forced. Observe how much suffering enters life when every disagreement is allowed to disturb your inner world. A single harsh word ruins your day. Someone else's mood determines your happiness. Another person's approval becomes necessary before you can feel calm. This happens because your peace has been placed into hands that cannot consistently protect it. The Buddha encouraged becoming a refuge unto yourself. When your peace is rooted within, other people's behavior still affects you, but it no longer controls you. You remain compassionate without becoming emotionally captive to every action and opinion around you. As people grow older, many realize that some relationships consumed years of unnecessary worry. They gave endless chances, ignored repeated disrespect, and sacrificed their own well-being, hoping things would eventually improve. Looking back, they often wish they had protected their peace sooner. They discover that peace lost is not easily replaced, while many relationships naturally change, regardless of how much effort is invested. This realization is not meant to create bitterness. It teaches discernment. It reminds you that your emotional well-being deserves the same care and attention you freely offer to others. The Buddha taught that attachment often whispers, "Without this relationship, I cannot be happy." Wisdom replies, "Without inner peace, no relationship can truly make me happy." This simple understanding changes the way you live. You stop clinging desperately to people who repeatedly disturb your heart. You appreciate relationships deeply, but you no longer make them more important than your own mental clarity and emotional balance. Love becomes freer because it is no longer driven by fear of abandonment. Your peace remains steady because it has found a home within, rather than entirely in another person's presence. Therefore, I say, protect your peace more than your relationships. This does not mean loving people less or turning your back on those who care for you. It means understanding that every healthy relationship should support your growth, instead of constantly draining your spirit. Choose connections that encourage kindness, respect, and understanding, and have the courage to step back from those that repeatedly steal your calmness. A peaceful heart is one of life's greatest treasures. Guard it with wisdom, nurture it with mindfulness, and never trade it away simply to keep every relationship alive. When your peace is protected, your love becomes purer, your decisions become wiser, and your life becomes rooted in a freedom that no unhealthy attachment can take away. 7. Build your self-worth from within, not from others. Many people spend their entire lives measuring their worth through the eyes of others. They feel valuable when they are praised, included, and appreciated, but the moment they are ignored, criticized, or rejected, they begin questioning their own value. Yet I tell you, anything that depends entirely upon another person's opinion can never provide lasting peace. Human opinions are as changeable as the weather. Today, someone may admire you, and tomorrow they may misunderstand you. If your self-worth rises and falls with these changing opinions, your heart will never know stability. The Buddha taught that true confidence is not something handed to you by the world. It is something quietly cultivated within your own mind through wisdom, integrity, and self-understanding. When your value comes from within, no praise can inflate you, and no criticism can destroy you. The Buddha reminded us that every human being carries different perceptions, desires, and judgments. Because of this, you cannot expect everyone to see you in the same way. One person may appreciate your kindness, while another mistakes it for weakness. One may admire your silence, while another believes you have nothing to say. If you spend your life changing yourself to fit every opinion, you will slowly lose sight of your authentic nature. The wise person understands that self-worth cannot be built upon shifting perceptions. It must rest upon a deeper foundation that remains steady regardless of how others choose to see you. Imagine a mountain standing beneath the changing sky. Some days clouds cover its peak, other days sunlight reveals its beauty. Yet the mountain never questions whether it still exists, simply because someone cannot see it clearly. Your worth is much the same. It does not disappear because another person fails to recognize it. Many people suffer because they confuse recognition with value. They believe they become worthy only when someone else notices them. But a diamond remains precious even when buried beneath the earth. Your value exists independently of whether others acknowledge it. Many people stay in unhealthy relationships because they secretly believe they are not worthy of something better. They tolerate disrespect, accept constant criticism, and continue chasing those who repeatedly reject them. This happens because their sense of worth has been placed in other people's hands. The Buddha taught that attachment often begins with misunderstanding your own nature. When you truly understand your inherent dignity, you stop begging for acceptance where respect is absent. You no longer need another person to convince you that your life has value. Instead, you begin treating yourself with the same compassion and respect you so willingly offer to others. Observe how exhausting it becomes to constantly seek validation. Every decision is shaped by the question, "What will people think?" Every action becomes an attempt to gain approval. Instead of living according to wisdom, you begin living according to applause. This creates endless anxiety because approval is temporary and unpredictable. The Buddha encouraged freedom from attachment, and one of the greatest attachments is the attachment to other people's opinions. When you release this need, your mind becomes lighter. You begin making choices based upon truth rather than fear, and your peace no longer depends upon being admired by everyone around you. As people grow older, many realize they spent far too much time trying to prove themselves. They worked tirelessly to earn acceptance, sacrificed their own happiness to avoid criticism, and shaped their lives around the expectations of others. Looking back, they often recognize that those opinions changed many times, while the years they lost could never be returned. This realization teaches a quiet but powerful lesson. Your life becomes far richer when you stop asking the world to define your value and begin discovering it within yourself. Self-respect grows strongest when it no longer depends upon outside approval. The Buddha taught that mindfulness allows you to observe yourself with honesty instead of judgment. Rather than asking whether others think you are enough, you begin asking whether you are living with kindness, wisdom, and integrity. These qualities create a stable foundation because they belong to you. They cannot be taken away by rejection or criticism. The more you cultivate them, the less you depend upon external praise. Confidence becomes quieter, deeper, and more enduring because it is rooted in character rather than popularity. This is the confidence that remains even when no one is watching. Therefore I say, build your self-worth from within, not from others. Do not place the value of your life into hands that are constantly changing. Appreciate encouragement when it comes, but never depend upon it for your identity. Your worth is not determined by how many people choose you, praise you, or understand you. It is revealed through the way you live, the compassion you cultivate, and the wisdom you develop each day. When you finally stop searching for your value in other people's opinions, you discover that what you were seeking has always existed quietly within your own heart. That realization brings a confidence no rejection can steal, and a peace no criticism can disturb. 8. Stop carrying people who drain your energy. Many people carry certain individuals in their lives long after those relationships have stopped bringing peace. They continue giving time, attention, forgiveness, and emotional energy to people who constantly criticize, complain, manipulate, or create conflict. They believe this endless sacrifice is a sign of love. Yet I tell you, love should not require you to abandon your own well-being. Every day you spend carrying someone who continually drains your spirit is a day you cannot fully invest in your own growth. Just as a traveler cannot walk far while carrying unnecessary weight, the heart cannot move peacefully toward wisdom while burdened with relationships that constantly exhaust it. Freedom begins when you recognize that not every relationship deserves unlimited access to your energy. The Buddha taught that the mind becomes shaped by what it spends time with. If you continually surround yourself with anger, negativity, and bitterness, those qualities slowly begin influencing your own thoughts. Even if your intentions are kind, constant exposure to emotional heaviness eventually weakens your inner stability. This is why wisdom requires discernment. Compassion does not mean allowing every person to occupy your life without limits. You can wish others well while also protecting the condition of your own heart. Kindness and healthy distance can exist together. One does not cancel the other. Imagine carrying a bucket with a small hole in the bottom. No matter how much fresh water you pour into it, the bucket slowly empties. Some relationships are similar. You keep giving encouragement, patience, understanding, and support, yet nothing changes. Your energy disappears while the situation remains the same. The Buddha encouraged wise effort, not endless exhaustion. There is a difference between helping someone who sincerely wishes to grow and constantly sacrificing yourself for someone who refuses responsibility for their own actions. Wisdom knows when giving becomes unhealthy. Many people stay connected to draining relationships because they fear guilt more than they value peace. They worry that stepping back makes them selfish or uncaring. Yet ask yourself carefully, how much good can you truly offer others when your own heart has become tired, anxious, and overwhelmed? A lamp that has completely burned out cannot provide light to anyone. Likewise, a person who has neglected their own emotional well-being eventually has little strength left to offer. Protecting your energy is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of responsibility toward both yourself and those you genuinely wish to help. The Buddha reminded his followers that attachment often disguises itself as obligation. The mind says, "I must continue carrying this person because I have known them for many years," or, "If I let go, I will be a bad person." Yet relationships should not be maintained solely because of history. They should also be examined according to their present reality. If a connection repeatedly destroys your peace while refusing to grow healthier, wisdom asks you to reflect honestly. Continuing to carry unnecessary suffering helps neither you nor the other person. Sometimes stepping back creates more healing than endlessly remaining in the same painful cycle. As people grow older, many realize that their greatest source of exhaustion was not hard work or difficult circumstances. It was carrying people who continuously demanded emotional energy without offering mutual respect, gratitude, or understanding. Looking back, they often wish they had protected their peace earlier. They discover that letting go of draining relationships created space for healthier friendships, deeper self-respect, and greater inner calm. Life became lighter not because everyone changed, but because they finally stopped carrying what was never theirs to carry forever. The Buddha encouraged mindfulness because mindfulness reveals where your energy is quietly disappearing. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with different people. Some leave your heart peaceful, inspired, and grateful. Others leave you anxious, discouraged, and emotionally empty. These feelings are important teachers. They are not invitations to judge others harshly, but opportunities to understand what nourishes your mind and what weakens it. When you become aware of these patterns, you gain the wisdom to choose your relationships more carefully and to invest your precious energy where it can truly flourish. Therefore, I say, stop carrying people who drain your energy. You are not responsible for solving every person's struggles or sacrificing your own peace to keep every relationship alive. Offer kindness generously, forgive sincerely, and wish others well, but do not allow endless emotional exhaustion to become your way of life. Your energy is one of your greatest treasures. Use it to cultivate wisdom, compassion, healing, and meaningful relationships that encourage mutual growth. When you release the unnecessary weight of draining attachments, your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes clearer, and you discover that rebuilding yourself begins by protecting the life within you rather than endlessly carrying the burdens of everyone else. 9. Replace attachment with gratitude and acceptance. Many people believe the only way to keep happiness is by holding tightly to the people, experiences, and moments they love. They cling to relationships, memories, and expectations because they fear that letting go means losing everything that matters. Yet I tell you, attachment and gratitude are not the same. Attachment says, "This must never change." Gratitude says, "Thank you for the time we shared." One creates fear, while the other creates peace. Attachment constantly worries about losing what it loves. Gratitude simply appreciates what has been given, without demanding that it remain forever. The Buddha taught that lasting happiness grows not from clinging to life, but from appreciating life as it unfolds. When gratitude replaces attachment, the heart becomes lighter because it no longer tries to imprison what was always meant to flow freely. The Buddha reminded us that all things are impermanent. Every sunrise fades into evening, every season changes, and every relationship moves through different stages. Yet the attached mind refuses to accept this truth. It insists that beautiful moments should remain exactly as they are forever. This resistance creates suffering because reality continues changing while the mind fights against it. Acceptance does not mean giving up or becoming indifferent. It means understanding the true nature of life. When you accept that change is unavoidable, you stop wasting your energy resisting it and begin using that energy to appreciate the present moment more deeply. Imagine holding a beautiful flower in your hands. Attachment fears the day the flower will fade and spends the entire time worrying about its future. Gratitude admires its beauty while it blooms, fully aware that every flower follows the rhythm of nature. Which person experiences greater peace? The one who constantly fears loss, or the one who quietly appreciates the gift before them? Life is much the same. Every person, every experience, and every joyful moment becomes more meaningful when you appreciate it instead of trying to possess it forever. Gratitude allows love to breathe, while attachment often suffocates it with fear. Many people continue suffering because they cannot accept that a chapter of their life has ended. They replay old memories, wish people would return, and imagine different outcomes. Yet no amount of wishing changes what has already passed. The Buddha encouraged acceptance because acceptance frees the heart from endless arguments with reality. You may miss someone deeply while still accepting that their path has moved in a different direction. You may grieve an ending while still remaining grateful for everything it taught you. Acceptance allows sorrow to soften instead of becoming permanent suffering. Observe how gratitude transforms ordinary experiences. A peaceful conversation becomes precious because you know it will not last forever. Time with loved ones becomes richer because you stop assuming they will always be there. Even moments of solitude become meaningful because you appreciate the opportunity to know yourself more deeply. Gratitude shifts attention away from what is missing and gently returns it to what is already present. The Buddha taught that peace grows wherever awareness and appreciation meet. A grateful heart notices blessings that an attached mind often overlooks. As people grow older, they often discover that gratitude brings far more peace than possession ever could. They realize that no relationship, achievement, or possession was meant to be controlled forever. Looking back, they remember moments of kindness, laughter, and learning with appreciation rather than regret. They understand that the greatest gift was never permanent ownership, but the opportunity to experience those moments at all. This wisdom creates serenity because it allows beautiful memories to remain blessings instead of becoming sources of longing and pain. The Buddha encouraged mindfulness because mindfulness keeps the heart rooted in the present rather than trapped in fear of future loss. Each breath becomes an invitation to appreciate what is here now. Every relationship becomes something to cherish instead of something to control. Every experience becomes a teacher rather than an object of attachment. The more mindful you become, the less desperately you cling. Gratitude naturally replaces fear because you begin seeing life as a series of precious moments rather than possessions that must be held forever. Therefore I say, replace attachment with gratitude and acceptance. Love people deeply, but do not imprison them with your expectations. Appreciate every blessing, but do not demand that it remain unchanged forever. Accept the changing nature of life with wisdom rather than resisting it with fear. Gratitude will fill your heart with joy for what has been, while acceptance will free your mind from suffering over what cannot remain. Together they create a peace that attachment can never offer. When you learn to appreciate without clinging and accept without bitterness, you discover a freedom that allows your heart to love more fully while suffering far less. 10. Create daily habits that strengthen your mind. Many people hope that one day they will suddenly become peaceful, confident, and emotionally strong. They wait for the perfect opportunity, the right motivation, or easier circumstances before changing themselves. Yet I tell you, a strong mind is not created through one great decision. It is created through many small decisions repeated every single day. Just as a tree does not grow in a single afternoon, wisdom is not built in a single moment. Every thought you choose, every habit you repeat, and every action you practice shapes the condition of your mind. If your daily habits are filled with worry, distraction, and negativity, your mind becomes restless. But if your days are filled with awareness, patience, and discipline, your inner strength quietly grows until it becomes part of who you are. The Buddha taught that the mind follows the path it walks most often. If every morning begins with anxiety and every evening ends with regret, those patterns become deeply rooted. Yet habits can be transformed. Begin each day with a few moments of silence before the noise of the world reaches you. Observe your breath, calm your thoughts, and remind yourself that today is a new beginning. A peaceful morning creates a peaceful direction for the rest of the day. Small moments of mindfulness practiced consistently have greater power than occasional bursts of inspiration. The mind becomes stronger, not through intensity but through steady repetition. Imagine a gardener caring for a young tree. They do not pour all the water onto it once a year and expect it to flourish. Instead, they water it a little each day, remove weeds, and patiently allow it to grow. Your mind deserves the same care. Daily habits are the water that nourishes your inner life. Reading a few pages of wisdom, practicing gratitude, walking quietly in nature, or sitting in meditation may appear simple, yet these small actions gradually transform the heart. Great strength often grows from ordinary routines, practiced with sincerity and patience. Many people underestimate the influence of their daily environment. They spend hours listening to negativity, surrounding themselves with constant complaints, and filling their minds with unnecessary distractions. Then they wonder why peace feels so distant. The Buddha reminded us that whatever repeatedly enters the mind begins shaping it. Be mindful of what you watch, what you listen to, and whose voices you allow into your life. A healthy mind requires healthy nourishment. Just as the body becomes weak through unhealthy food, the mind becomes restless through unhealthy influences. Choose carefully what you allow yourself to consume each day. A powerful habit is learning to pause before reacting. Most suffering grows because people immediately follow every emotion that arises. Anger becomes harsh words. Fear becomes panic. Disappointment becomes hopelessness. Yet the disciplined mind creates a small space between feeling and action. In that space, wisdom has time to appear. The Buddha taught that awareness transforms reaction into response. Even a few moments of mindful breathing before speaking can prevent countless regrets. This simple daily practice gradually strengthens emotional stability and self-control. As people grow older, they often discover that their character was shaped less by extraordinary events than by ordinary routines. The way they spoke each day, the thoughts they repeated, the people they spent time with, and the habits they practiced quietly formed the person they eventually became. This realization brings responsibility because it reminds us that every day offers another opportunity to strengthen or weaken the mind. You do not become peaceful by accident. You become peaceful through the habits you consistently choose. The Buddha encouraged consistency over perfection. Many people give up because they miss a day of meditation, become distracted, or fall back into old habits. Yet growth is never destroyed by one imperfect day. It is destroyed only when you stop returning to the path. Each morning offers another chance to begin again. Be patient with yourself. A calm mind is not built through self-criticism, but through gentle persistence. Every time you choose awareness over distraction, kindness over anger, or gratitude over complaint, your inner strength quietly increases. Therefore, I say, create daily habits that strengthen your mind, for your future peace depends upon what you repeatedly practice today. Do not wait for life to become easier before cultivating wisdom. Begin with small actions that you can faithfully repeat. Protect your mornings. Guard your thoughts, nourish your heart with truth, and make mindfulness part of your ordinary life. In time, these simple habits will become your greatest teachers. They will prepare you to face difficulties with calmness, relationships with compassion, and solitude with confidence. A strong mind is not a gift given to a fortunate few. It is the natural result of daily choices made with patience, awareness, and unwavering dedication. 11. Forgive without holding on to the past. Many people believe forgiveness means pretending that nothing happened or allowing others to continue hurting them. Because of this misunderstanding, they refuse to forgive, believing that holding on to anger somehow protects them. Yet I tell you, forgiveness is not a gift you give to the person who hurt you. It is a gift you give to your own heart. When you refuse to forgive, you continue carrying the weight of the past wherever you go. The event may have ended years ago, yet your mind relives it again and again. The other person may have moved forward, but you remain chained to an old moment. Forgiveness does not erase the lesson or excuse harmful actions. It simply frees your mind from becoming a prisoner of yesterday. Peace begins when you stop carrying what no longer belongs in your present. The Buddha taught that anger is like holding a burning coal with the intention of throwing it at someone else. Before it reaches the other person, it burns the hand that refuses to release it. Resentment works in the same way. The longer you carry it, the more deeply it wounds your own peace. Many people believe they are punishing those who hurt them by remaining angry. In truth, they are punishing themselves every single day. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is the wisdom to stop hurting yourself over wounds that have already been inflicted. The moment you let go of resentment, your heart begins creating space for healing instead of suffering. Many people become trapped because they constantly replay painful memories. They revisit old conversations, imagine different outcomes, and ask themselves why things happened the way they did. Yet no amount of thinking can rewrite what has already passed. The Buddha encouraged acceptance, because acceptance ends the endless argument with reality. What happened cannot be changed, but your relationship with it can. You can continue feeding the pain with attention, or you can gently release your grip and allow healing to begin. Every moment spent clinging to the past is a moment stolen from the peace available to you now. Imagine carrying a heavy chain around your shoulders for many years. At first, you barely notice its weight because you have grown accustomed to it, but the moment you finally remove it, you realize how much lighter your body feels. Resentment and unforgiveness are much like that chain. They become so familiar that many people mistake them for part of their identity. They forget what life feels like without constant bitterness. Forgiveness removes that invisible burden. It does not change history, but it changes the person carrying the history. The heart becomes lighter because it is no longer tied to old suffering. The Buddha never taught people to ignore wisdom while forgiving. You can forgive someone and still recognize that certain relationships require healthy distance. Forgiveness does not mean trusting everyone again or allowing repeated harm into your life. It means releasing hatred while keeping understanding. A wise person learns from painful experiences without allowing those experiences to harden their heart. Compassion and discernment can exist together. You may forgive sincerely while also choosing a healthier path for your future. In this way, forgiveness becomes an act of freedom rather than blind acceptance. As people grow older, many realize that the years passed much more quickly than they expected. Looking back, they often regret the time spent carrying anger toward people who are no longer part of their lives. Some of those people have changed. Others have gone their separate ways. Some are no longer alive. Yet the resentment remained, quietly consuming precious years that could have been lived with greater peace. This realization teaches an important lesson. Time is too valuable to spend endlessly reliving old wounds. Every day offers another opportunity to release what no longer deserves space within your heart. The Buddha encouraged mindfulness because mindfulness reveals when the past is controlling the present. Instead of automatically following every painful memory, you learn to observe it with calm awareness. You recognize that a memory is only a memory, unless you continue feeding it with attachment. Little by little, its emotional grip weakens. The lesson remains, but the suffering fades. This is the quiet power of forgiveness. It allows wisdom to stay while pain gradually loses its authority. The past becomes a teacher instead of a prison. Therefore I say, forgive without holding on to the past. Do not allow yesterday's pain to become today's identity. Learn from every wound. Protect yourself with wisdom, and move forward with a heart that refuses to be imprisoned by resentment. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting what happened or pretending it was acceptable. It means choosing peace over endless suffering. Release the burning coal. Remove the heavy chain. Let the past remain where it belongs, behind you. When you forgive with understanding and continue walking forward with awareness, you discover that one of the greatest acts of rebuilding yourself is refusing to let old pain define the rest of your life. 12. Rebuild a life that does not depend on anyone else's validation. Many people quietly spend their lives waiting for someone else to tell them they are enough. They wait for approval from family, praise from friends, acceptance from society, or love from another person before allowing themselves to feel worthy. Yet I tell you, if your confidence depends upon another person's validation, then your peace will always remain uncertain. Human approval is temporary. Today you may be praised, and tomorrow you may be criticized for the very same actions. If your happiness rises and falls according to these changing opinions, you become like a leaf carried wherever the wind decides. The Buddha taught that true freedom begins when your worth is no longer borrowed from others, but discovered within your own awakened heart. Rebuilding your life means creating a foundation that remains steady, even when the world refuses to applaud you. The Buddha reminded us that every person sees life through the lens of their own experiences, desires, and limitations. Because of this, not everyone will understand your choices, appreciate your intentions, or recognize your growth. If you spend your entire life trying to satisfy every expectation placed upon you, you will slowly lose the person you were meant to become. Wisdom is not found in pleasing everyone. Wisdom is found in living truthfully, compassionately, and with awareness. The more deeply you understand yourself, the less desperately you seek confirmation from those who cannot fully know your heart. Imagine building a house upon shifting sand. At first it may appear strong, but every change in weather weakens its foundation. A life built upon validation is much the same. Every compliment lifts you, every criticism breaks you, and every rejection shakes your confidence. But imagine building that same house upon solid rock. Storms still come, yet the foundation remains firm. Inner wisdom, self-respect, and mindful living are that solid foundation. They allow you to remain steady because your sense of worth no longer depends upon the unstable opinions of others. This is the strength the Buddha encouraged every person to cultivate. Many people postpone their dreams because they fear being judged. They silence their voice because they worry about criticism. They remain in lives that no longer bring them peace, simply because they want to avoid disappointing those around them. Yet every day spent living according to another person's expectations is another day spent abandoning your own path. The Buddha taught that each person must walk their own journey toward understanding. No one else can live your life for you. When you release the need for constant approval, you gain the courage to live with authenticity rather than fear. Observe how exhausting it becomes to constantly seek validation. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to prove yourself. Every achievement feels incomplete unless someone notices it. Every decision is measured according to whether others will approve. This endless search creates emotional dependence because your happiness is always waiting for someone else's response. A peaceful mind no longer asks, "Do they accept me?" Instead, it quietly asks, "Am I living with kindness, honesty, and wisdom?" This question returns your attention to the only place where lasting confidence can truly grow, within yourself. As people grow older, many realize that those whose approval they chased so desperately were often busy living their own lives. The opinions that once seemed so important gradually faded into memory, while the opportunities they ignored and the dreams they postponed remained deeply personal regrets. Looking back, they discover that the greatest freedom would have been to trust themselves sooner. This realization is one of the quiet gifts of wisdom. It teaches that inner peace is far more valuable than temporary applause, and authenticity is far more rewarding than constant approval. The Buddha encouraged becoming a refuge unto yourself. This teaching does not mean rejecting relationships or refusing encouragement from others. It means understanding that your deepest source of strength must come from within. Appreciate kind words when they are offered, but do not become dependent upon them. Accept criticism when it contains wisdom, but do not allow it to define your identity. Build your confidence through mindful actions, compassionate choices, and honest living. These qualities remain with you regardless of who praises or rejects you. They become the quiet pillars supporting a peaceful life. Therefore I say, rebuild a life that does not depend on anyone else's validation. Let your worth arise from the way you live rather than the way others judge you. Walk your path with humility, but do not allow fear of criticism to prevent you from becoming who you truly are. Respect people without surrendering your identity. Welcome encouragement without becoming dependent upon it. When your confidence is rooted in awareness instead of approval, your heart becomes unshakable. You stop chasing acceptance because you have already found something far greater, the quiet certainty that your value has never belonged to the opinions of others. It has always lived peacefully within you, waiting to be recognized through wisdom, self-respect, and compassionate understanding. As you move through life, you will meet people who encourage your growth and people who quietly hold you back. You cannot always choose who enters your life, but you can choose what you continue to carry. Every time you release unhealthy attachment, you create space for greater peace, greater wisdom, and a stronger version of yourself to emerge. Rebuilding yourself alone does not mean rejecting love, friendship, or family. It means learning that your happiness, confidence, and inner peace should never depend entirely on another person. When your foundation is built within yourself, relationships become a gift instead of a necessity. You stop chasing, stop begging, and stop fearing loneliness because you have discovered the strength that already existed inside you. So let go of the people who no longer belong on your journey. Walk forward with courage, patience, and compassion. The road of solitude may seem difficult at first, but it often becomes the path where the deepest healing, the greatest freedom, and the most meaningful transformation take place. The moment you rebuild yourself from within is the moment your life truly begins.